so coffee tastes mighty good. That's not the reason why I've gotta get back up to that sugar shack.
Hey everybody, Jim Tedesco here from Millennium County Railroad version 2.0 and Pogo version 1.0. Anyway, today we're going to put some Mod Podge on Lake Pogo, on Pogo River, hopefully. And I'm also going to do a little bit of scenicking on Doodle Lake and put the nudes in place and start dressing that whole area up. So I figured I'd do a short video. Well, it really won't be short, but we'll do a video on it. And so stand by, and without further ado, we'll get right on that. Be right back. Okay, so here we are at Pogo River. And I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Mod Podge, hopefully. And we're going to try this out, and we'll see how it works. I'm just going to do a small section here because this is pretty entailed to do a large area. Got it opened up. I've got my handy dandy brush. And we'll dip a little bit in there. And basically we're just going to stipple it in. And you got plenty of time to work with this stuff. I mean, like not like hours and hours, but you can go pretty far with it. So there we go. So that's just like I said, just a little area. Then we're going to take our airbrush. I've got it maximum, which is right around 20 psi. And we're just going to just go across it like that. And you get like a wavy effect. So you don't have to get crazy with it. You can get as decorative as you want. And like I said, I'm just putting a really thin coat on there. You could put a thicker coat on if you really wanted to, but because this is more of a lake, well, it's a river or lake, same thing. Yeah, I guess a river is what you call it. Rivers don't have, my rivers don't have like a rapids. If you want to do a rapid, you could do this stuff real thick. It takes longer to dry. And you can have, you know, like curling waves and stuff. It's pretty cool the stuff you can do with this. In a case like that, I don't even know if you'd want to use the air. You could, I suppose. But now this will dry clear, and I'm going to do a little bit more of it actually. Oh yeah, with the air again. Really, you should probably do smaller areas. And that'll still be fine. It takes a few hours for this stuff to dry, so I'll probably do the rest of this a little later on. I'm going to go wash my brush out real quick. So I'm going to pause the video for just a second, and we're going to move on to something completely different. Okay, so in this part, we're going to be using the static grass applicator. And first thing we've got to do, of course, is we're going to be doing this area right in here. And I put some sand colored paint in this. And we got to find a brush here. I forgot to get a brush, didn't I? Now we've got our brush. See if I can squeeze in here a little bit. Of course, like I said, the first thing we've got to do, this is our adhesion coat. And you want to put this on fairly thick. This way you'll get good adhesion. Alright, so now we've got that on there. Then we have our static grass applicator. We're going to turn it on. And we're going to push the button and just basically do some shaking. So we got that done. Well, it's not standing up as good as I'd like it to, but there is some that's standing up, and that's just the nature of it. And then we're going to take some fine turf. This is yellow grass. And we're just going to dump it in there to kind of fill in the spots. Not go crazy with it, but and there you have it. Oops. Put this back in place, and you've got some ground cover scenery. Now, one of the things I'm using here, I'm using some really tall. I think this is like 12 millimeter turf. It's probably easier to use the shorter stuff because it's easier to, it'll stand up better that way. But even here where I did this area here, I still got a lot of it did stand up, so it's pretty good. It's just, you know, you're not going to get 100% of it to stand up, at least I don't think anyway. I haven't been able to do it. I noticed with the shorter turf grasses, you can. It actually will stand up straighter. But I didn't know that when I bought it, so, you know, as usual, I said, oh, let's get the tall stuff, where I want it to look unkempt. Yeah, which sort of didn't really work out as well as I wanted it to, but still, you know, it was still pretty much a pretty good deal either way. So, like I said, the main thing you got to do with this is you got to make sure that the grass is not all clumped up in here. Because what happens is it just won't break up, it won't stand up straight the way it's supposed to. I think I've got some 8mm grass here. No, that's not 8mm grass, that's weeds. Anyway, I thought I had some shorter turf, but apparently I do not. So, which is no big deal, really. But I'm going to do this section in here. Could we see that? There we go. First thing, of course, we got to do is get our adhesion coat here. Now, you can use anything for this either. I use paint because it's easier. A lot of guys will use watered down white glue, which works just as well. Really, anything that'll provide adhesion will work. I'm going to get a little bit here on the sides too, because when I throw the fine turf down, I'll try and get it to stick to that a little bit. Okay. Now, turn this back on. There we go. Like I said, I got some of it standing up, some of it not so much. Well, that's okay. And we're going to sprinkle on some fine turf. And there you go. Now in a couple hours, when this is good and dry, I'll take my little vacuum, that's this one here. Now you can use a shop vac too, it doesn't really matter. But you want to try and collect this stuff, so that's why I tend to want to use this little one, because it'll just enough power to suck up the loose turf. And of course I could save it and reuse it, because you don't want to throw any of this stuff away if you can help it. So there you go, it's pretty much clear cut. So I'm going to take a break for right now. We're going to come back later when everything's dry. We'll go back and look at the Mod Podge area that I've already done. Over on Lake Joe, or Pogo River. I'll get them right eventually. And we'll come back here and look at this as well. So stay tuned, we'll be back soon. Okay, we're back. I put a new battery in the vacuum. Let's see what happens here. Just vacuum that stuff right up. Just dump it out in a little pile over there. Alright. That's really all there is to it. It's not a big deal. That vacuumed up pretty much most of it. On this trail here, we're going to actually make, we'll do that at another time. We're going to make like a dirt path. And I've got some work to do on this, but hopefully, we got a lot of debris on here still. From the old road bed. I'll have to repaint that, of course, but like I said, we'll do that another time. But anyway, so this is how we've got the grass standing up, and let me get my glasses here. See how much of this is actually standing. Not bad. Not as tall as I'd like, and I put a brand new battery in my static applicator. The other battery was kind of weak. That explains a lot. But anyway, so you experiment with it, and you guys will get it figured out. And like I said, my best advice is don't use the 12mm grass. Use the shorter grass; it'll stand up easier. And paint's probably not the best thing either to use as a base. The scenic cement that Woodland Scenics makes actually works really well. And I thought I had some of that. Maybe I still do. I haven't looked. You know, you got so many things here that after a while you forget all what you have. And yes, I do have some. Look at that. I've got almost a whole bottle of it. Forgot I had it. This stuff's expensive. This was $10, probably more now. And you can make that out of the white glue, the Elmer's, by watering it down a little bit. I don't know if it works just as good, but I would try it. I may go ahead and try and do this area here next. I'll do it off camera and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. So for right now, we're going to go back to the lake or the river. Right, Pogo River. So stand by, I'll move the camera. Okay, here we are back at Pogo River. Now some of this, like I said, is already dried or mostly dried. That's like right over here. You saw this area I did. Now while we were off camera, I went ahead and I did the rest of it. And it's not dry yet. And like I said, it's very difficult to, because it does dry very clear. So you really can't see. I can see the effects if I look down on top of it, but I don't think the camera can. So, and you can always do more than one coat too, which I may do that as well. This area would be cool. It would be almost cool if it stayed white like that, but that would be kind of crazy on a river. On an ocean, that'd be good though, wouldn't it? I suppose you could probably, well, I don't know how that's done, but like I said, it does add texture. And it doesn't look bad. So we'll probably take a look at this again a little later after it's completely dry. That'll take a while, of course. So I'm going to shut the camera down for a minute again. And we'll come back as soon as that's dried. Okay, so here we are back on this end of the table, benchwork again. And I've been busy. So what I've done is I went ahead and set up all my nudes in there and see if we can, let me get the remote. I remember what to do with it. Okay, let's see. Zoom in there. Okay, so there we are at Doodle Lake. That's the nude lake, as you recall. And, alright, so here's a still photo I took with the 35mm Nikon. A little better picture. If you got any kids in the house, you might want to cover their eyes. But overall, it looks pretty good. A lot of detail there. So, that's that, and then we'll get back to a regularly scheduled video. Of course, we got a bunch of nudes out there, don't we? And we'll zoom back out. Now what I've done is I've got my stairwell in over there so they can get up and down there, because otherwise how would they get there, right? They can't fly. And then I went ahead and I put sand on that pathway. I'm not quite done with that yet, but it is a sand path. So, and I've got it glued in now, so I'm waiting for the glue to dry, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and weather it somehow. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about that yet. I did put a bunch of trees in all the way around. So that really dressed up that whole area there. So we're looking pretty good for one little tiny area of the layout, but you got to start somewhere, right? So I think what's going to happen is I'm probably going to start working my way down. And I've got a lot of area to cover there. Now, at some point I have to build a replica of my house, and I'm not sure when that's going to happen. But what I am sure of is that I can get right up to it, and it's going to be a lot of wooded area there, so it's probably going to be a ton of trees all the way through there. I'm going to take a shot. You know, I live in the woods, basically, so I should be able to make some trees, hopefully. So I'm going to take a shot at making some of my own. I still want to get a bunch from Dave at Crooked River and Eastern, because I think we're going to try and do some sort of a trade deal. But I'm going to need a lot of trees, and I mean, nobody could make that many trees for me. I mean, when all's said and done, I'm probably looking at 1,000 trees, maybe more. So, you know, because I live in a wooded area, and realistically I could see where there could be a whole lot of trees in a lot of different areas of the layout, especially on this side of the layout over here. You can't really do much. I mean, now down further, beyond where my house is going to be, I'm going to try and get some industry in there, even though that's not the way it is in real life, but hey, this is a fictional railroad, right? So I can do what I want. But on this end here, I think I'm going to, I think I'm going to do a dirt road coming from right there, have it come through here, cross the tracks, and technically, there is a dirt road that goes all the way down. The other end of Shelton Street, where I live, actually crosses 27, or 17, no, 17, yeah. Yeah, crosses 17, or 98, no, 17. I'll tell you, I haven't lived here that long, so I get confused a little bit on the street numbers. So it's across from 17, and it's just a dirt road, and in real life, there's houses and stuff over here, but I don't have the real estate for it. So I'm not going to worry about putting houses in. There is a cemetery down at the end of the road and a cell transmission tower. I may be able to put both of those in, and those would actually be, let's see, that'd be about right about in here somewhere. So it could be done, but it would be like a small cemetery, I guess. I'm not sure how we'll pull that one off yet. I'm gonna look at it and I might give it a shot because, like I said, I want this whole area. Let me put this around. I want this whole area here all the way down to basically here. You see my hand? Yep. To be all wooded. And it's also the same now, right over here is where my house is going to be, somewhere here in this area. But the reality is, like I said, I'm not too worried about trying to make an exact, I'm going to make an exact replica of my house as close as I can. The rest of the stuff here, it's not a big deal. So also going to have a lot of trees in here and all the way down. So we're talking, literally, there could be at least 1,000 trees on the way out. So I want them to be tightly packed. It's going to be very dense. And that'll be fine. So that's the plan for that. So I think that's what we're going to concentrate on with scenery. We'll just start going inch by inch back this way. There's a lot of stuff to be done. And of course my big issue is right now, like I said, I'm running low on cash. And I have some materials here, but probably not enough. But I can make trees relatively inexpensively. I mean, really the only thing you need for trees is, you know, the raw materials, which is easy to find. And some glue, which I can buy the spray glue, and you'd be surprised how far that stuff goes. And, well, of course, you got to have some sort of a cover for them. And like I said, I've seen a lot of different ways to make cover for trees. You can grind up leaves and stuff that's outside. So I might have to go out and buy a cheap blender to grind everything up, but that's not a big deal. If it'll save me a bunch of money in the long run, it'll be worth it. Because like I said, we're talking a whole hell of a lot of trees here. So that's the plan, and but it's come along pretty good. Like I said, I still want to put more trees in this area here. There's it's not as dense as I'd like it to be, but like I said, I am going to carve a dirt road in, and the dirt road is going to be all the way down to here where this actually here. Let's just move the camera over here. That's the easy way to do it. Okay, so this here is 17, which of course is real life, and it's that way. You know, if you were in real life. And it actually goes north-south, where my road, I think, goes east-west, but I'm not sure 100%. We're still, it's just kind of weird. Yeah, I think it is east-west because the sun rises and sets east-west, so. So like I said, this is the paved road that'll go to my house. And there is an empty lot here, which will be some trees. Then there's the neighbor's house, which I may just put up some little house for the neighbor's house. And then my house on the end. On this side over here, where, like I said, Shelton Street goes all the way down, and it's literally a dirt road. It's not paved at all. So, and I've actually went down it to see what was down in the end, and we found a cemetery down at the end. And off in the distance was also a cell transmission tower, which I might be able to put something like that in. I'm not sure yet. There's a lot of different ways to go about this, and I could actually, and it wouldn't be that hard to do, I could put more real estate in if I needed to by building a frame out here coming into this, so that I would have like an extra, almost a foot of land here. So, and then I could do a lot of stuff with that. Like I said, I could put my cemetery in, I could put the transmission tower in, and it'll be fine. It won't be 100% perfect compared to real life, but it'll be pretty close. And that might be a smart way to do it, because realistically, I can still reach the things I need to get to here. And it's only going to be this long anyway. Well, probably this long here. It'll end where the existing fascia ends. Right there. So it'll go from here right to the thing there, and you're looking about 3 feet, give or take. I can measure that if we want to be specific about it, but just for, it looks like, well, it might be a little more than 3 feet. Yeah, believe it or not, it's 3.5 feet, 3 foot 6 inches. So like I said, I could move that, and I could bring these 2 cameras out to the edge over here so that I'll still be able to get to them. And it'll work out just fine. So I think that's probably what we're going to do. I've got plenty of foam left over underneath the bench there. And I should have enough scrap wood laying around where I can build a small frame here. And I should be able to do it without having to put a leg on it. You know, as long as I'll just make sure I fasten it real good to this. And I think we'll be fine. Even if I do have to put a leg on it, I could put a small 1x2 leg and move the rest of these cabinets down a little further to make room for the leg. Because I'll probably cantilever it to some degree. So I think that's probably going to be a workable plan. So like I said, for right now, I can't do that because I don't have everything I need yet. So probably over the next coming weeks or even months, I may have to start building trees. So anyway, that's enough of that. So we come back over here to Pogo River. And what we have here is most of this is dry already. Like I said, unfortunately, you can't see it with the camera. And you have to look at it at a certain angle to see the waves or the fluctuations in what looks to be the water. And it doesn't look too bad. I thought it looked nicer. The one I did in Naples was nicer, but you know where I made it differently on this one? I did the blue bottom, and I had more of a grimy bottom in the one in Naples, and I think that made more difference. It was sort of a greenish tint. And I probably should have done that here. So what I may wind up doing is, over there at Lake Joe, over here, I don't know if you can see that or not without me being in the way here. Oh, there's Pogo. Over there, which is the chair is in the way. It's nice having a second chair here, but sometimes it's a nuisance. This is Lake Joe over here. And I think I am going to repaint that and make it a little grimy looking. I think it'll come out nicer. I could still do that over here even with Pogo Lake or Pogo River, but, and I just might. I could probably make some sort of a wash to go over the top of that. And redo the texture. I don't know yet. I'll fool around with it and I'll let you know how that comes out. Like I said, the place is a total mess right now. But you know, can't make an omelet unless you break a bunch of eggs, right? Speaking of eggs, I got a ton of eggs, but I'll tell you what. The chickens are producing 11 eggs a day. And I really don't eat eggs, neither does my wife. Yeah, we've got like probably 100 eggs in the fridge. So she started actually making scrambled eggs to feed the chickens, which they love, by the way. I don't know if that really counts as cannibalism or not, or you'd think it would, but I don't think it does. But anyway, we got so many eggs, we don't know what to do with them, and I can't risk selling them because then I would be liable if somebody got sick. Which I don't think they would, because the chickens are in good shape. We keep the pens relatively clean. And I'm not all that worried about it. But still, it's an added liability that I don't want to get involved in. So we won't sell them. We give them away on occasion, but kind of out here by our lonesome, really, for the most part. So you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Pogo, stop eating that stuff. I love to eat everything. You gonna go on that? Good boy. No, maybe not. Hey, don't eat that. Okay, so anyway, that's the latest update. I'm actually getting some things accomplished. If anybody has any questions about what I'm doing or how I'm doing, don't hesitate to ask. If I can answer you, I will. And as always, keep it on the rails. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye for now.